Jonathan, do you want to say anything? Or can we
I just wanted interesting experience with the government to share with all. Indian government is was, designing so many program for agriculture development program. Especially they have created a farmer school in at block levels. But the design was very good, but the implementation part from the government, maybe government I can say failure, because there is no resource person for to run the farmer school. But what we have done is we have selected a cadre of master trainer in agriculture who were expert in selected and trained them as a master trainer from the agriculture university. Then we are using the farmer school promoted by government school. Then we have also created our own farmer school itself. What is the beauty of this? The trained farmer master trainers from Seva, government using the resource as a resource person. This is a tremendous impact from the Seva's experience. Then so that the quality of training provided by the master trainers, lot of farmers are benefiting in terms of production, and also started to making profit in the using the technology, modern technology, because we have our own agriculture expert also. We are also involving the master trainer, learn and pass on the message to the other farmers too. This is the reverse experience of Indian government. They have resources, everything. Only thing implementing part is lacking between the farmers and the government scheme. So we are filling the gaps between the. We have to. This is our society. We have to contribute from our side also. In that way, large farmers we can cover and make them benefit in the entire program.
Okay. Thank you. I think the gentleman in the white shirt, and then yes, yes, you sir.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your experience. My name is Ilma, working for ActionAid. I understand in South Asia there are a lot of alternatives, models, and I appreciate most of it. And I appreciate if you share us your experience on scalability and to what extent your model and models and alternatives developed by other institutions, big scaled it up within a country as well as across the region. Thank you.
Scaling up, how we are scaling up model is, our organization object is very clear. First thing, we want to work for the small and marginal farmers, empower the farmers and build their capacity to take care of themselves. That is the approach of scaling up. The second thing, setting up an enterprise model, as we have told, in different level, based on the supply chain management. There are huge investment on capacity building, and we are raising the fund for the government and who are volunteers, the funding partners with a public-private partnership. We are using whatever the maximum we are for the capacity building. Mainly we are focusing on the enterprise center, production center. That is a major important. We have rigorously monitoring the center, whether they are they are doing properly, they are making profit or not, where they are lacking, we have to fill up them to come up out of the crisis. All these things, practically we are monitoring the business model through the companies. That is a major responsibility of the company. And then further what we are doing, expansion in terms of again, major objective of Seva's organization, every year they have to target, the Rudy model has to be ensure the food security of 1 million farmers and the rural communities. We are preparing the business plan along with the organizing the members from the farmers wherever the Seva members are there, how we are linking with the Rudy business model and how we have to capacity building them. And then setting up a processing center at the state level as well as district level. This is the way we are planning and monitoring and evaluation, preparing the feasibility study. Feasibility studies is a major important part of the expanding the business model. We are using the management school students who are coming as an internship, because that is also another expensive that which we are getting free of cost. The feasibility, based on this feasibility, state-wise we are preparing the business plan and implement with a calendaring plan when we are going to implement the program. Everything will be the deadline program. All this, the step-by-step process has been designed by us, and then we have two responsibilities with the maintain the deadline. This is the way we are encouraging the grassroots farmers and members participating in the entire program. As being a food security related program, we focus only the essential item, not the unwanted things like Chinese product dumping into the rural areas. The object is the hard-earned money by the rural community should not be invested in the other unwanted product. Food security is a first priority for the rural communities and the farmers. So we are insist them to use only their investment in the business and the purchasing the product, only the consuming product. This is our major objective. Also preserve the traditional skill. We have discussed there are a lot of fast food is coming forward. We are not taking the healthy food, including us, we are not taking the healthy food. We are trying to preserve the traditional food through the Dudi business model, so that our agriculture production practice also is changing day by day, using the chemicals, and we are trying to preserve the natural agriculture production methodology through the small and marginal farmers. And then the traditional food security, which ensure that not only food security, preserve the traditional food, and we are taking the intake, the nutritious food for the not only elders, although especially for the small children. This is our approach of the expanding, scaling up model.
Okay, thank you very much. We have 5 minutes left. I got the 5-minute button here. So in the yellow shirt, and then I see in the black jacket. Okay.
Because what it looks like, there are lots of good practices that are happening. I have the opportunity to work with grassroots women in Asia, Latin America, and Africa, and you'd have all these exchanges. I really think we need to enhance our investment in global learning, and I think it's necessary. When it comes to building resilience, especially for women who are living in poverty, food security, access to adequate water and energy are really important entry point for building resilient communities that's from emerging disasters. And for me, one of the ministry, as the minister from Sri Lanka says, that is most important and close to farmers and women living in poverty is the Ministry of Agriculture, and has all these systems of how to operate. But unfortunately, it's one ministry that extension officers believe they have the knowledge. And what we are exploring in Africa is how to work with Ministry of Agriculture extension workers to sit down and listen to grassroots women voices and integrate that as part of their training. Literally sit down and wait to be taught by women farmers. And I think that is something that we need to happen. And this is possible because World Bank has a strong convening opportunity. UN agencies and other material agencies, that's what they can offer us. We are doing already with World Bank on convening land actors to listen to the women on what it means for land ownership and access and control of land. And every year we've made it purposefully to be in Washington, where we bring grassroots women from all over the world, and they teach the World Bank staff and the ministries of land. I think we need to do this for agriculture to push for this transformation.
I agree, yay, and we'll talk. So I think we can join up and do joint regional work. But this is kind of a new animal that we've created with this knowledge sharing network, so we're learning by doing, but yeah.
Well, first, thank you for your presentations. They were very informative. I'm Allison Sheen, and I'm here with Mercy Corps. I sort of have a question for you about how you've worked to create enabling environments at the community level to allow for behavior change. And particularly, you've talked a lot about how you've engaged with women and female-headed households, but I'm interested to hear how you've also engaged with men to ensure that you can fill these gaps in knowledge and what role you've seen men playing in the communities.
Who wants to take that first?
Actually, the women we are including in our program, they are already working with other programs because we have many schools, community schools in Chittagong Hill Tracts, and they are the members of the mother group. So already they are sensitized. They know their situation, and they, to some extent, they realize that there should be some changes. So that's our entry point. So it is that's an opportunity for us to involve them in more other issues.
Very quickly.
I would like, sorry.
Very quickly, in Bhutan, I think the gender differentiation is not so strong. I mean, the roles are, it's based on practicality and pragmatism. Whoever is there and can do the work will do it. So with the exception of one or two agricultural based tasks, it's not very gender specific. Having said that, we've also realized that working with women is a lot easier, but that doesn't come out just like that. Tarena has been engaged with the rural women, with the grassroots communities for over 11 years now. And it is that sense of relationship that you can bring into any development work. And that has been our biggest enabler, that we are known to them, they are known to us, that confidence level is high. The social capital that has been generated in this last 10 years or 11 years, that has come into, has given us big dividends.
see, just being, you are, no. Being a women's organization, first thing we encourage the women should be organized together. Single women cannot achieve anything in the world. That is very important. After organizing themselves, they should take the leadership at the house, at the society, at the business level also, at various leadership at various level. Then they should build their capacity through the organization, and then they should ensure themselves their own income security and livelihood security. We call this a full employment including this kind of this thing. So being a leader, taking the leadership at various levels, they can then come out of the poverty and they can take care of themselves. This is our approach.
Let me just add, I think the importance, what we mentioned earlier as well, of tapping into existing networks. I reiterate that. I mean, in Sri Lanka, we tapped into the women rural development societies, which are also supported by the government. So there's a lot of buy-in from the government. And the mothers groups are part of the health system. So, already that background is there. It's a matter of building alliances. Now, our women would be linked to the SUN, Scaling Up Nutrition, movement, which is at national level. So you really link them and bring them up to national level through the existing networks.
Okay, we got the 1 minute card about 1 minute ago, so I think we're bringing it in right on time. I want to thank everyone for coming and joining us for the whole session, and I really want to thank the panelists for traveling here to share their experiences. We have materials outside on the table about Safansi, about bees, about Rudy, about Vilutu, and also some of the other Safansi products that we have been developing. So please feel free to take flyers, and we'll also get the list and can email any materials to you. Thanks a lot.